Welcome everyone to Black Video News Celebrity Edition. I'm your host, Devin Matthew, your Eastside homegirl, here ready to introduce to some and introduce to others. Drum roll, please. Mr. Lawrence Dandridge, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Feeling good on this Wednesday. The sun is shining. Happy to be here in San Antonio.
Awesome. How are you liking the city so far?
So far, so good. We sometimes it is easy to take some of the spaces that we come into for granted, because we're jumping all around.
Mhm.
But San Antonio is beautiful,
Awesome.
especially in the dead of this October. I'm from Jersey, so I'm used to it being frigid and cold.
Jersey. Yes, and it's very warm
Yes,
still in San
yes.
Antonio. Well, we are so happy and honored to have you on the show today. We got to go
Definitely.
ahead and come out last night and experience. Ain't too proud to beg. The life and times of the Temptations. You were amazing. You were so
Thank you.
awesome. Of course, I was
Thank
watching
you.
you like a hawk because I knew I was going to interview today. And oh my gosh, you guys just blew me away. Tell me a little bit about the production. How did it start? Your audition process. What was that like for you?
Well, the touring production of it, we actually started rehearsing this month last year. So we're coming up on 1 full year of us on this beautiful journey. We were rehearsing in New York. The cast is comprised of people all over the country. Me and a handful of others are from New Jersey. I was actually one of the last pieces of the puzzle to be cast,
Hmm.
because I initially was auditioning for a swing role. And for the folks at home that don't know what a swing is someone who is cast in the show that can literally swing in and out of any role or a handful of
Hmm.
roles in case of an emergency. So I was in the running to be a swing. We have four fantastic male identifying swings and one female identifying swing here, who are out of this world. Um,
Wow.
as we can see, I did not get cast as one of the swings because apparently they thought there was some better room for me
Woo!
elsewhere, which is
That's
how I
right.
got cast as Smokey Robinson and Damon Harris. So the rest is really history, really. We've been jumping around. We opened in late December at the Kennedy Center
Wow.
in Washington, D.C. And here we are, still pounding the pavement 1 year later. So
That is awesome. I'm so excited for you, and I can't imagine thinking you're going to get, a swing role or even like an understudy, and then you get a name. You get a role in the show, and that's just awesome.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
what was your rehearsal schedule like? What was it like putting this together? And did you guys actually hear from Smokey or Otis? Were they involved? Were they at the opening?
Our first rehearsal ever, we had a like a sit down read through with the full cast and majority of the creative team, and Shelley Berger, which is the Temptations
Right, right.
manager, and Otis Williams both were in the room to just meet us and greet us with some of the very specific energy that only Shelley and Otis can bring into a
Hmm.
space, especially as we are telling their story.
Right.
So they were in the mix from the top. And, shortly after our rehearsal process started, we had about 3 weeks of boot camp, so to say, just to get the show
Wow.
running. But we started literally 1 week after the Broadway production reopened from the pandemic. So it was a whirlwind of just throwing up the Broadway show and then integrating this new national touring cast. But we meld together like nobody's business. It was definitely given heavy family energy from the top and
That is
has been so,
awesome. That is so
yeah.
amazing, you guys. So y'all travel this is a huge cast. Well, it's not like in comparison to some shows, right? I've been in Hair, where Hair was
Yeah.
like crazy cast, 30 plus songs,
Yeah.
but you guys are like doing this legendary, retelling of the number one R&B group in the history of music, in my opinion. And it's just amazing. So, you are from New Jersey, and I saw that you also were in Sister Act. Is that right?
That was actually my first national touring experience back in 2013, 2014.
Hmm.
And I played TJ,
Hmm.
which is the bad guy's nephew. So that was kind of like a comedic relief character. But that was a great time. That was my first time experiencing the idea of taking a show and doing months and months and months of a run. Um,
Wow.
and that kind of set me up beautifully to be able to step into Proud and be able just to kind of have a rooted position, a grounded position in how it is that you go from city to city, hotel to hotel, and kind of also keep yourself grounded to be able to step on stage and do the show 8 times a week, you know?
That is awesome. And let me tell you, when you slid, now I'm gonna say slid, you slid because y'all had this bomb set design. Like,
Yes.
oh my God. Baby, when you slid out and you turned around, I almost threw my shoe at you. I said, he's not gonna beat this. Cool. I was like, all right, Smokey. You came out there with your leg crossed. I was done. It was
I love
amazing.
it.
So let's talk about this set. The
Mhm.
literal moving pieces. Man, y'all are sliding on. The urinals took me out. Let me tell you. I almost went under the seat. It was just so creative and real. You
Yeah.
created those moments. Tell us about the set design, how y'all decided to integrate that. And then I saw a lot of quick changes, because I told you I
Yeah.
have background in theater and musical, so I saw lots of quick changes integrated in there. That car,
Yeah.
tell us
Yeah, I'll
about
tell you
that.
one thing. Our set designers, I think even from when they were trying to figure out how to tell this story on a Broadway stage, I think were very smart and specific about how they wanted to use the idea of lights and screens and things coming in and out.
Hmm.
Because this show, where it differentiates from a lot of musicals in two
Hmm.
ways, is that it's a jukebox musical.
Okay.
So instead of having like songs that like the characters are singing at each other to kind of tell the story, this show is comprised of a bunch of popular music.
Yes.
As we know, it's the story of the Temptations. So a lot of that Motown sound is integrated through how it is that they're choosing some of these songs to move some of these moments along. And the same thing with the idea of our set being used to kind of jump in and out because it is
Hmm.
a memory play.
Right.
And we jump back and forth into Otis's memories of some of these moments. And the idea of how they could really visually paint that picture was having people jumping in and out, sliding into a thought, just like a
Hmm.
thought will come into your head. People are sliding onto the stage, people are sliding off. Um, and just like you mentioned earlier, because it is a smaller cast than some of the bigger shows that are out on the road right now. There are a lot of quick changes. So we every time we leave the stage, somebody is literally changing from head to
Hmm.
toe, or
Hmm.
a wig is changing, or sometimes Otis never leaves the stage, so some
I
of his quick
noticed
changes
that.
happen on the stage. So it's very, very meticulous little things that just make sure that the story is always rolling and you never miss a beat of how fast this incline of their stardom was, you know.
Right. That's just so awesome. So, can we take a moment and talk about the blackness?
Oh yes.
The melanin was everywhere. And when you guys did the southern piece without telling too much, of course, and telling your story, there
Mm,
are there are some points that are uncomfortable because these are the things that the Temptations went through. These are things
absolutely.
that singing groups back then actually experienced, especially touring and performing in the South. Tell me about
Absolutely.
that process. Y'all paid tribute to MLK. Y'all took a knee. When I tell you I was on y'all like white on rice last night,
I love it.
my soul has been stirred since I saw the show. Tell me about your decisions in doing so, even in some of the language. Y'all did not hold back.
Oh,
And
yes.
how did that come about?
I think, first of all, kudos to the amazing playwright Dominique Morisseau for taking what could have been a very flat line in your face. This is the story that we know of the Temptations. These are the songs that we love, and kind of make it a jukebox boppy
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. She tried to make sure that the humanity behind these Black artists
Mm-hmm.
was at the forefront of the telling of the story,
Mm-hmm.
because it is easy to know Otis and Melvin and David
Mm-hmm.
and love them because of the stars and the music that
Right.
they created. But it is, I think, more intriguing and deepens the love and appreciation that we have for them, because they were Black people. They were
Mm-hmm.
Black people first
That's
and
right.
foremost, having to experience very clear and very blatant civil unrest and racial injustices that were happening rampant throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the idea of being able to highlight the parallels between, yeah, we were rising and we were selling out and making number one
Mm-hmm.
records, and also getting shot at as we were on our way from one
Right.
venue to another.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it is just as imperative then as it is now, and a
Mm-hmm.
reflection in art, to be able to see that it is easy for audience members to separate the artist from their art,
Right.
and for Black artists, it is almost impossible to separate those two things. The art is interwoven in our fabric of how it is that we exist, how we walk around the world, how people then view us off the stage and on. And I think that Dominique's use of making sure that the backdrop of the world was still very present, and how it is that we were revering and understanding how some of these songs and some of these moments in the Temptations' lives came to be.
Right.
And I think that that is one of my favorite parts of being able to tell this story, because yeah, we be singing and we've been dancing and we
Mm-hmm.
sweating and get everybody
That's
in
right.
their seats grooving, but we also take moments to make people think about the reality of what it meant to try to be a crossover artist in the time when Motown was being very specific about how they were pushing Black music.
Right.
So,
That is amazing. And if I may just be vulnerable for a minute, um, we're here in San Antonio. San Antonio is a predominantly Hispanic town. We do things like this, Vista Products Black Video News, to highlight and shed light on Black performing arts. That's something that I personally try to do, and the director and owner of this company tries to do. Now, when we went to the show last night, when you guys got to that segment of the show, and you guys can see, it was almost like this weird irony or parallel. When you looked out in the audience, my husband and I were like, it's predominantly a Caucasian crowd, right? Same thing. We're here 30, 40 years later. And when the lights came up on the break, right after y'all did that poignant portion of the show, we were like, it's like, it felt like everybody just turned around and looked at us, because there were six African Americans sitting together. And I don't know if they felt bad or remorseful or
mm,
what, but it was a very vulnerable moment. And thank you all for being brave enough, to bring that to life in telling the story. Because you can't just tell the story of the Temptations without telling what they went through. Talking about David Ruffin. We've
mm,
seen the movies, we've read the books, we've known what happened. We know what happened with Paul and Eddie and everyone. And as an actor, for you, are you ever nervous? Do you guys ever feel uncomfortable in telling that, especially with the climate of the country we're living in right now? The fact that we are still having to have this conversation. You guys are telling a story from decades ago that is still
mm,
relevant today. For you
mm.
personally, how does that feel?
For me personally, I think that my job as an actor is to be audacious. And when you
Mm,
have a script like this one, that, as you pointed out, it is not just here in San Antonio, but majority of the audiences that we play are predominantly Caucasian.
mm,
Um, and that I think that is more a testament to theater goers and the culture of theater than anything else really. But in those moments, I feel like there is no other room for me to feel or adopt an uncomfortable
Right.
truth that's already mine. Like
Right.
I that it is not my position to feel uncomfortable because I see a sea of Caucasian faces that have to sit in this truth with
Mm.
me. I think, if anything, it more so empowers me because I revere it as the most important part of my job. Yes, like you said, and I appreciate it, and it humbles me that like when you were scoping me out, your eyes are glued to me every time I step on the stage,
Yes.
and there are aspects of like, all right, cool, like let me make sure that like I'm putting on the show so that way whoever is glued to me, they're receiving whatever it is that I'm trying to get them to receive. But outside of that, when I'm singing and dancing and smiling and sweating on things, outside of that, anytime I have an opportunity to just be neutral and be like, this is the part of the story that you
Mhm.
actually should be taken away from. I feel like that is what makes it worth it. Really makes it worth it. Like the audacity of being able to be a Black performer on a stage,
Yes. Yes.
telling
Yes.
anybody in the audience, like, this is what it looked like to be Black then, and this is what it looks like to be Black now. And either way, you are soaking up the greatness, and it's going to be uncomfortable sometimes, but also that uncomfortability is what
Mm.
allows us to grow as people. So,
Man, when I tell you I'm doing everything I can to remain professional, you have me wanting to scream. Like, this is the second show that since I've come back with the Vista and Black Video News, to see a predominantly principal Black cast on a Broadway tour. And for the little girl in me that has that dream,
mhm,
I'm just so emotional about it because it's just, wow, we have not one show, but two, and maybe there'll be more showing the world that performing arts is important. And I think we as performers and actors have a responsibility to shed more light on the arts. I do it here in the city as much as possible. I'm always yelling at people on social media, put your kids in music, put them in theater, let them feel those things. Yes, we excel in sports. Yes, we excel in all these different things, right? But it's something about performing arts that is in my
mhm.
heart. And I just appreciate what you guys are doing. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud
Thank you.
of you, brother, for what you are doing. So, with that said, tell me about your castmates. I know that y'all have so much fun on the road. What do y'all like to eat? What do y'all like to do for fun? Tell me about your crazy cast because I know y'all have too much fun.
First off, yeah, no, this cast is something else. Like genuinely something else. Like there is never a dull moment. And this show, I mean, it's 2 hours and 35 minutes
Hmm.
of heightened energy. So
Hmm.
there really is not an opportunity for anybody to check out.
Right.
Like if you check out, that means that you missed an entrance or you missed a cue or something. Like so we're always hyper locked in with each other, which means that depending on show to show, somebody might say something in a different way that requires you. Now I gotta listen and respond, which is
Hmm.
the beauty of my acting.
Hmm.
But this cast does it effortlessly, and I think that's one of my favorite things about being on stage. Every day something new is happening. Somebody is singing down just because they decided to show up to work and sing down today. um,
Okay.
and that part of it kind of keeps us also energized and not feeling like we get stale in the storytelling of it. But outside off the stage, we hang out, we chill. I actually, since I've been on the road, I have been making it my business to find a crystal shop in every city that I
Mm.
go to, because I'm real good on making sure that my chakras are aligned and making sure
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
that my mental health and my peace is in store. Um, so I like to find crystals all around the country, and that has been one of my checkpoints
Mhm.
on tour. I got one of and a few of my cast members kind of hooked on the crystal journey, so
Mhm.
we've been collecting since we've been on the road. The food, I mean, I am bad at the food only because I don't venture out and explore as much as everybody else.
Uh,
So I'm more so like a what's on Uber Eats and what's gonna get here quickly
okay,
so I can
listen,
rest.
right here. Yes, we're
The
here.
rest
That's
is
it.
important. But
But y'all
the
may need to
folks
get
do
some enchiladas. Y'all are in San Antonio. Y'all have got to get some Mexican food. Come on.
okay,
You got to
okay.
get
All
some
right, I'm
Mexican
gonna put it
food
on
and a
my queue.
margarita.
You know, where we're our hotel is right off the Riverwalk, and
Uh-huh.
apparently the Riverwalk is the place to be around here. So
Yeah, but we're going to talk off camera. I got some places for you to go.
touche, got it.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. You have been so much fun today.
Thank
Is there anyone
you.
that you'd like to say hello to, shout out anyone today?
Do I want to shout out anyone? I want to shout out my Our Way family back in New Jersey. Our Way is my nonprofit, my own
Mhm.
personal nonprofit arts organization back in New Jersey. We highlight the experiences of Black and Brown people through
Awesome.
arts and education. So I just want to shout out to them. And also shout out to beautiful San Antonio for showing us so much love thus far. I hope that y'all continue to pour out in droves and come check us out at the Majestic Theater.
Absolutely, you guys. The show is in town. Ain't Too Proud to Beg, The Life and Times of the Temptations, on tour at the Majestic and Empire Theaters until October 16th. Mr. Lawrence Dandridge, everyone, thank you so much. God bless you guys. Be safe. Have a great show and break a leg. This is your girl,
Thank
Devin
you.
Matthews, signing off for Black Video News Network. Have a great day.